Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my mother vlog. My name is Muhammad Fajullah, and today I want to talk about a sentence that many students have heard before. Maybe from a teacher, maybe from friends, or maybe from social media. The sentence is, understanding is more important than memorization. At first, that sounds completely reasonable. In fact, most people would probably agree with it, and honestly, I agree with it too. Understanding is important, very important. But today, I want to ask a different question. What if memorization is more important than we think? What if the problem is not memorization itself, but how we think about memorization? Many students don't like memorization, and to be fair, there are understandable reasons for that. Sometimes memorization feel really boring. Sometimes it feel repetitive. Sometimes students memorize information for an exam and forget it a week later. Because of experience like this, many people conclude that memorization is not very useful. They say, don't memorize, just understand. And over time, this idea became very popular. But I think there is a problem. Somewhere along the way, we start treating memorization and understanding as if they were enemies, as if choosing one means rejecting the others. But are they really opposites? Let's think about something simple. What if what if 7 multiplied by 8? Most people immediately answer 56. But notice something interesting. You probably did not calculate it from the beginning. You remember it. Memory help you. And now, let we imagine if every time someone asked you 7 times 8, you had to calculate it from scratch. Life would become much slower. The same thing happened in language. When you speak English, you don't open a dictionary every time you want to say a word. You remember vocabulary. Memory makes communication possible. Even reading depends on memorization. Example, you memorized letter, you memorized sound, you memorized a word. Without memory, understanding becomes difficult. Modern psychology gives us an interesting explanation. Our brain have something called working memory. Think of it. Think of it as a small workspace inside your mind. The problem is that this workspace is limited. It can only hold a small amount of information at one time. That means when you are learning something new, your brain needs help. So where does that help come from? Of course, it's from memory. More specifically, from long-term memory. Information stored in long-term memory can be retrieved quickly, and when that happens, understanding becomes easier. This is why experts often say, the more knowledge you already have, the easier it becomes to learn new knowledge. This idea is actually very familiar in Islamic boarding school. You know, Santri memorize many things: the Quran, vocabulary, poetry, grammar rule, and classical texts. To some people, this may seem old-fashioned, and maybe they, they might ask, why spend so much time to memorizing? But perhaps there's a reason this tradition survived for centuries. Imagine reading a classical Arabic text. A student who has memorized important grammar rules can often understand the text more quickly. Not because memorization, not because memorization replaced understanding, but because memorization supported understanding. The two worked together. I think the real problem is not memorization. The real problem is meaningless memorization. Memorizing without reflection, memorizing without application, memorizing without understanding. That kind of memorization is weak, is really, really weak, and eventually it fades away. But meaningful memorization is different. It gives your brain building blocks. It creates a foundation, and once the foundation is there, understanding can grow much faster. So perhaps the question is not should we memorize or understand? Maybe maybe that is the wrong question. Maybe a better question is how memorization help us understand better. Because understanding and memorization are not enemies. They are partners. One one gives meaning. One gives meaning. The other gives structure. One help us see. One help us see. The others help us remember. And when they work together, learning becomes much more powerful. So the next time you hear someone say, so the next time you hear someone say, understanding is more important than memorization, maybe don't disagree, but don't stop there either, because perhaps understanding becomes stronger when memory is already there. Thank you for watching. I'm Ijaz, and I'll see you again in the next monthly vlog. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.